Just start by moving up and down, so in a kind of vertical. You let everything relax. You feel the weight dropping down the body. Start to bring the feet off the ground, slightly jumping, leaving the ground, sinking down. Keep the knees elastic, let them really bounce. Keep going. Good. Okay, then going to this front back direction. So moving the body from the chest, really curling. Let the arms really hang loose. In this case, really trying to keep the sense of the chest being wide. So keeping a sense of width in the chest. That's good. Good. Okay, side to side. So now moving from the kind of rib cage, swaying. Again, let the arms just hang. Let them be dragged by the body. Just really let the head sway from side to side. Good. Yeah. Okay, rotating with the hips. Yeah. Good. Okay. And then in this exercise, what you can do is also play with the the body coming out of the structure a little bit. So normally we would do this in Aikido, really focus on being down and centered. In this case, just explore the body slightly kind of coming out of the structure. Slightly kind of rolling out back. Just keep the movement coming really again from the hip. But you can roll out of the structure this way, and you can roll out of the structure to the back. So just play with slightly challenging the body structure. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, good, 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 good. Good. And there's a kind of B exercise to this one. It's actually the same kind of exercise, but what you're gonna do is bend the body down here, let the arms hang, the head hang, and again just move the hip. So just moving the hip and allow the hands just to hang. So the same exercise, you're just playing with it from a different position. So really allow the hips to move the body. Just play with spiraling movements with the hip. Let the head and the arms hang. Yeah, that's it. Good. Keep going. Good. Okay, and then just slowly coming back up. Good, good. You're gonna now play with this inside-outside direction. So in this case, start to bring the hands into it as well. So in this case, going inside the body and outside. Start to really involve the arms in the movement. And play with this one a little bit freer. So start to move the body this way. So you're now moving really from the pelvis, the underneath of the body. And just now playing with their hands, moving inside, outside. That's it. That's it. Good. Okay, and then we'll just go to these exercises. So the hands coming up, and you're just going to swing through the body this way and releasing. So in this case, we'll look a little bit deeper. When you do this one, swing the body down. As you get to the full thing, you're gonna kind of, the knees are gonna come stretched up here, and then you bounce back up. Okay, so there's kind of double bouncing it. The knees bend and straighten, and then bend and straighten, bend and straighten, bend and straighten. So there's really a double bounce going on in the knees. Yeah, that's it. Good. That's it. Nice. Great. Oh, okay, great. Now, in this case, you go from this side, hands at the out to the side. You're gonna curl down. One hand goes to the shoulder, one to the small of the back. Release it, come back to the neutral position, and then come to here. So just play now with dropping, swinging. Dropping and swinging. That's okay, and also with this exercise, when we're in the dojo, and sometimes we do this pushing exercise. So with the feet flat and you get pushed by the, I'm trying to show it kind of straight. When you get pushed, you do a kind of reaction down. So you give a kind of opposite reaction in the front and you release through the knees. Now in this case, what I don't want to do in this case is kind of twist out. And the same with that exercise, when I get pushed, I don't want to kind of twist the body. This is when I lose the structure. So in this case, when you do it, have this feeling of as if this arm's being pushed. And what I want to do is kind of collapse the structure, but collapse it into the ground. So I want to really ground the movement down. So what I'm trying to do is blend with the movement, but also maintain my integrity. And that means kind of blending it into the ground. So in this case, just really feel that the body's sinking down. And later use this exercise with pressure. You can sink the pressure into the ground. Oh, like this. Yeah. That's it. Right. Good. That's it. Right. Yeah. Nice. Nice. Okay. We'll just play with the shoulders a little bit. Sometimes we do this exercise this way. This is similar idea with the shoulder to open the shoulder up in the hand, but it's a bit more free. So in this case, imagine you're going to make a strike, but you're not going to do it with the hand. You're going to kind of raise the hand and press it down. Okay, in this case, it's as if the hand's just heavy. So in this case, just work on the connection with the shoulder, this, and you're just going to move the arm. You can move it any way you like. The easier way is to think of striking or of slapping. But just think of moving it here. And it can help to kind of just place the hand on the shoulder. What I don't want to feel is tension. So during the raise, if I feel tension in the shoulder and I feel it coming up and out, then I know I'm kind of using force to do it. So in this case, really feel that the structure's in and the shoulder's free. If the shoulder feels free, it means that the movement can flow through the shoulder. And I want to feel the hand just heavy. So just raising and bringing it down. And just try both sides. Raising and bringing it down. You really have the feeling that the hand is raised by pressure in the feet. So just this kind of feeling. Yeah, good. That's it. Just play with different kind of angles. So you've got high to low, low to high. You've got kind of sideways, all kinds of angles. Just really play with different kind of movements. Good. That's it. Good. Keep going. Good. Good. Okay, take a bokken. Good. So just go into the first Suburi real slow with control. So be stretching up and in the back and then cutting down with the body. Spine in the back, reaching down. You have a sense of connecting into the ground, extension down and out. Yeah, give it a try. First Suburi. Good. Good. Okay, go to Zengo Giri. Nice and slow. So finding the back. Just looking for the connection with the hip into the hand. Get real slow. Pressing from the foot and cutting down. Yeah, just in your own time. Zengo Giri. Nice and slow. Work on the connection, especially in this rotation. Good. Okay. Now just go to number 2. So from here, again, just real slow, stretching up into the Jodan, pressing into the ground for the cut. So rolling back with the feet, pressing in with the cut. Do that. Yeah, nice and slow. Number 2. Control. Oh. Okay, good. And in this case, really just focus on the feet. So you need to basically find your own step of comfort. So when you step, really want to look for an ability to press forward with one step and also land in a way where the hips just find the ground and are stable. Now, in this case, this is different for everyone. So in this case, if my step's too big, what happens is my hip skips over the front foot, and then I fall into the cut, and then I go into the arms to do it. So if my step's too big for my gait, this happens. It pushes me over, and then I go into tension and holding myself and all these kind of things that we don't want. The same thing is I can also constrict the movement and do too small a movement. And these kind of things happen. And then what happens is I kind of hold myself back so that the cut has no real impact. So in a sense, just try and find a kind of natural step for you. When I want the front foot to be, I want my energy to be extended forward and I want the back hip to be able to land and ground. Okay. The same thing with the back foot. I don't want the back foot to come in too close in these kind of movements, or too wide. Yeah, these are all kind of ways where I'm out of a comfort, out of a position of comfort. So really just look for your step. You can really find the ground with both hips. Yeah, just explore. And explore going too far and too narrow and too wide. Explore all these kind of possibilities and try and find the one that's most efficient and one that's most comfortable. That's it. Hey. Good. Hello. Okay, good. So we go to number 5. So we skip into number 5. So Yokominuchi from the back with a step each time. Really, again, just looking at slow, clear movement. So 2 or 3 cuts, stepping from the back, and diagonal cut in this way. Yeah, give it a try. Number 5. Go. Oops. Good, good. And then see, again, if you can try and minimize the work in the arms and try and maximize the work you're doing in the hips. So really try and use this as a way to find the ground with the hip. The ground with the hip. Always my priority is the ground. So my relationship to the ground is the first priority. The strike's always going to be secondary. So when you do this, really have a sense of sinking the weight down into the ground. And also as I do the raise, sinking the weight down into the ground and not being raised up and then kind of wobbling at the end. So when you do this, really have a sense of grounding down. This is important to take really slow and just feel the weight sink down in the back. So in a sense, use the sword. It's just a tool to check that's gonna, the sword is challenging my ability to find the ground. So use it in that way rather than as a thing to hit with. Use it as a tool to just practice. It's gonna counter my ability to ground. So really look for it to include the sword in my awareness and see if I can really find the ground with it. Yeah, so just training this way. So more hips and more in the legs underneath. Yeah, see, yeah. Around the movements. Yeah, good, good. Good. Okay, now go to number 7. So with a yokomen and a ski from the back foot. So yokomen on the right, ski on the left. Yokomen. Yeah, and just again really work on the hip and your ability to stay in contact with the ground. Draining the energy all the time. Ground. Into the ground. Into the ground. Into the ground. Yeah, give it a try. Number 7. So yokome and ski. Oh. Okay, so we'll look a little bit at the ski in terms of generating power, but actually just in terms of the movement itself, it's really a quality of thrusting forward. So it's really a thrust forward. So really think in terms of generating power, but it's piercing outwards. In a sense, what happens a lot is if I'm too tight, the bokken just kind of moves with the hip. But you need to have a sense of extension out as you do it. So in the same way that the cut has an extension, but also the ski needs a sense of extension out. Yeah. So which means my focus comes out. This is rooted in the ground. So again, just focus on the ski cutting. It actually comes from this foot. So it's pressing from here. Yeah, so I'm actually pressing all my weight into the ground here. And this releases the thrust. This releases the thrust here. Yeah. So there's kind of three ways I can deliver power in this sense. I can move the whole body together, everything together. Or I can go step and then push the sword in. Yeah. Or I can ground, spiral and press out with the extension. In this case, you're going to use the third one. So really focus in this case, spiraling down, finding the weight in the ground and then expressing it outward this way. Yeah. So different from the cut, it's got a very different quality. So here, here. So really have a sense of finding this extension out. Yeah. Give it a try. So really thrust with the feeling of piercing straight forward. The ground. Yeah, good. Oh. No. Laat mama regelen. Right.
Michael?
Yeah.
A question with a ski.
Go ahead.
Okay, when you're extending, when you're extending that,
Yeah.
just elbow, is it straight? Is this bit here straight, or is there a bit of a bend, or what do you do?
In this case, I'm always going to keep a sense of extension. Yeah, in this case, the arm's extended, but it's not straightened. So in this case, what I don't do is push out with the elbow. If you see that, what happens is it push out and it pushes the shoulder forward also. So in this case, try and keep a feeling of extension through it this way. So it's like this, that kind of angle. So it's got a kind of natural curve in it. It's fully extended. So I feel the joint, I can't really extend anymore through it without pushing the joints and locking them. So there's this real sense of strong extension. So this kind of feeling without locking. So in this sense, this way. Yeah, that way. Yeah, does that answer it?
Yeah, can you do it facing your left side so I can see the right side of your ear?
Right. First here. So I'm in that kind of sense. And again, what I'm trying not to do is get to the position and then push out with the arm in that sense. What I'm trying to do is just connect the sword into the hip and find a strong extension. So it's got that.
Okay.
So you've got that, that.
Okay.
Yeah. And always just trying to keep a kind of natural extension with the arm.
Okay, thank you, Michael.
Going. Yeah. Good. Okay, we'll practice one movement. That's good for this kind of connection also. Sometimes we do this in the dojo in terms of partner practice. We always generally practice in terms of striking the head, and we very rarely attack the arms. But if you look at most sword schools, a lot of the attacks are also to the wrists and the arms. Very obvious because they're the thing that's exposed. They're actually the first target. So in terms of distance, the hands are actually the first target. And the head's one that's a lot more risky. So in this case, the cut is actually to the wrist this way. Right? So it's a very short attack. It's like this, and my feeling is to come underneath the weapon here and strike the top of the wrist. So this is a kote attack. So this is here. You're just going to slide forward and strike down this way. So it's like this, slide down and strike down. It's a very short, snappy attack. Very hard to defend against. You come to here, slide in, press in, and strike down. So just really, this is great just for connection down and into the hands. Very direct. Here, this way. Yeah, give it a try. So this is, sometimes we do this.
Michael?
Yeah.
The first circle you're making, because you're actually, I mean, in reality, there are two swords and then you're kind of going under the other sword?
Yeah.
The first circle.
Yeah, this one, if you imagine I'm in a kamae.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to do it, drop the sword underneath and then snap.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm gonna slightly drop and strike in. Very slightly, it's not too much.
Okay.
So that.
Thank you.
We're going. Uh-huh. Yeah, exactly. Good. Just try this as an exercise, just to kind of get the feel for it. Just keep it loose, and you're just going to find this very first circle. This. So you're just going to move, and this is coming from the hips. So this is not coming from the arms. This is coming from the hip. So start like this. Really get a sense of the hip pressing into the ground, with the arms very free, the joints loose. This, and then just do a few, and then just snap into the attack. And then just come back, find it, really find the connection. Work on deepening the connection. Yeah. And then just press into the attack with it. Good. That's it. Great.
Michael.
Yeah.
While you're doing this circle, you're kind of releasing your, just a little bit release in the hands, right?
Yeah, my
So it's not stiff, it's not strong, it's just kind of release and then boom, right?
later what gives me any sense of efficiency or any sense of speed is that my hands are actually on the sword very light.
Okay.
And only when I make an impact that the hands snap into it.
Okay.
Any sense of rigidity will just twist into the body. Will just kind of things. So if I have this kind of quality, the movement just very obvious to see. But in this case, I want the movement just to snap in. The kind of looser and freer I am on the sword, the more I can just affect out the sword this way. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Very light. Good. Okay. Good. And then, in terms of the wrist availability for attack, there's that one which I'm just forcing. So I'm just going to come around and strike the wrist. The second one is when the hands are raised and I snap up into the wrist from below. Okay, so in this case, you're going to be here pressing again from the back, but snapping at the front, snapping up and at the wrist from underneath. Now we practice this a lot sometimes in the Awase, pressing from the back, snapping up. Yeah, and really have a sense of snap in this one. So in this case, it's not just a draw, it's not just a following up, it's actually a snapping underneath. And what I'm looking to do in this case is strike this hand. So I'm looking to actually break the hand at the base of the sword. Okay, so what you're looking to do is snap into the hand this way. Snap into the hand this way. Yeah, give this a try. So from the ground, this way. Yeah, give it a try.
Sorry, Michael, I completely missed that. So the person standing opposite you, would she or he be standing as though to strike you so that you can, I'm just trying to imagine it.
Yeah, this is basically made someone attacks like this. As they
Right.
Now during that attack, you can see the wrist is actually coming forward and is exposed. So as they raise, this front wrist is a clear target for an attack. So what I do in that case is as they raise, I just follow and snap the sword at the wrist.
Snap the bottom, snap the bottom hand. Yeah,
So I'm
bottom
looking
wrist.
to hit this wrist, which basically releases the sword from the grip.
Okay.
So hopefully I can
Okay, thank you.
snap into it. Usually in practice, we practice this as a control. So we practice this to follow up and control onto the wrist. But actually, this attack is just a snap into the hand.
Okay, thank you.
Nice functional movement. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Great. Nice.
Michael.
Yeah.
The aim is just above the front head. Eh? If the wrist is in front of your head, the aim is at
the aim is basically the attack's going to come in quite short, like this kind of. Now, as raising, I basically want to get the wrist just here, snap into
So
it.
that's about eye level then.
Yeah, just about eye level. So when the strike's just coming in here, and it's really just before it's reached full height, full raise, and then the strike's going to follow into it. Yeah, in terms of the footwork for this, let's see. When you're doing this in a partner work, it's very clear. What I don't want to do is come straight down the line. So in this case, if I do straight down the line, as I snap into the wrist, there's really a possibility they just continue the cut and go straight through. So if you do this in partner work and you go straight in, you will get struck if you do this fast. So in this case, what you do is wedge slightly off the line here. Now, what I'm looking to do is actually control the center line from a different angle. So in this case, this is really hard to show, but in this case here, you're snapping slightly off the line. Okay, and what I'm doing is, even though my attack is to the wrist here, I'm actually using the sword to attack the center line. So all of these, whether I'm attacking the wrist or the head, I'm still attacking the center line of the body. So in this case, I just slightly wedge out and come to here. Very slight, but don't come straight in forward. This will you get the sword right in the face. And the possibility is you both just cut each other, which is what you want to avoid. You want to be in a position where you can't be cut. Yeah, just try a few more. So slightly wedging off to your left side. Very slightly. Good. Okay, we'll do one more. So in terms of this awase, with a strike down, if I miss this one, then I can't find the wrist again. So what you can do in this case is, this is for when the cut's coming down. So when the cut's coming down, you can actually find the other wrist. So in this case, what you do is slide off to the side and strike up. Yeah? So you come to this side, and this is as the sword's being lowered in the cut, and I slice up here this way. Okay, this is for the back wrist. It comes down. What I'm looking to do is slice up from below, from here. So as it comes down, I adjust, and then I strike up this way. So I adjust off to my right side, and I slice up this way. In terms of the hand, I'm going to let the bokken slide through the hand. So this hand's actually loose on the sword, this way. This way. And my aim is to strike from below here. Strike from below here. This. All right, give this a try. So striking the wrist from below during the downwards motion of the cut.
Michael, how much do you rotate your right wrist?
This one, it comes all the way. It basically slides
all the way up.
Yeah,
all the way up.
This is from slightly more of a sword style. It comes this way, and then in this case is
you pull it up
this way. So you've got in this case this movement, and then sliding through this way the sword for the second attack. So that hand's just very loose. Yeah.
And you leave it in a natural arc. So not this way and then up.
Yeah, exactly. So when you start, it's actually already slicing up that way. You see that kind of motion. That. So this front hand's doing this kind of motion. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that way. This is actually in a sense. First, this is a thrust to the body. So actually, this is actually thrusting into the body, and then I cut the wrist on my way back. So actually, this movement's a bit more complicated. It goes like this, and then I'm actually slicing up for the wrist. Okay? So what you're looking to do is thrust into the body, which is why I turn the sword up this way. And then what you're going to do is slice up this way. In terms of the bokken work, it's more of an impact. Okay. I'm just going to snap the wrist from underneath this way. Yeah, do a few more.
And Michael, do you change your left, do you change the grip of your left side, your left wrist?
Yeah, this wrist, can you see? Yeah. In this case, this wrist is just very loose. So I keep it as it is and I just allow the sword to move through it.
Okay.
You see that?
Yes.
Now again, if I'm too rigid, I can't make this movement. So if I'm very rigid with my grip, this movement will be impossible. It will twist me out. What I need is a kind of relaxed grip where the sword just moves through.
Michael, are you twisting the sharp towards yourself? I can't see really what's going on, seriously.
See that?
So where is the sharp part going? Is it going towards you?
No, yeah, this end, the sharp end. Yeah, basically.
Coming to your face?
Yeah, no, that's what's it's coming here, to the back, this way.
So, and then how do you continue with the attack if that sharp is pointing the
like this.
Okay, just like.
So this hand's constantly moving. You see that? Actually, this hand does nothing. I just move through the sword this way. That makes sense. Can't see the sharp end. It's doing this all the time. My hands are
Just out of curiosity, why doesn't the sharp point the left instead of the back? Just curious.
left.
Yeah, I mean your left.
If I keep this,
when you kind of curl it around.
if I keep the blade outwards this way, I can't make this as a slice. It doesn't
No,
work.
I mean like this way, not this, but this like this.
One more time.
This, like, this is sharp, and this, and then the cut seems more easier than twisting it. I don't know. I mean, I'm just asking.
Yeah, in terms of slicing, I'm basically doing this from below. So I need the blade to be pointed up at this point. Here, this way, and then it's going to come back.
I see what you mean. Okay.
Yeah, you see
You're
that?
making a circle. Okay.
Yeah, so it goes this way and that way. If I keep the blade just like this,
Okay.
I can't perform the slice.
Okay.
It just kind of blunts.
Okay. Thank you.
Go. Yeah. That's it. Okay, and just play with mixing these three up. There are others, but these are the main three. So you've got this one, which is a snap low to the wrist. This is right from the beginning, from a kamaisa. This is just slicing in. You've got during the raise a slice to the front, to the top hand, this way. And then you've got this movement here, which is the slice from underneath to the back hand, this way. Yeah, so just mix these in freely. Snap for the wrist. This way. That's good. Good. Oh, okay, good. And then just one point about this: when you practice with partners, it's actually much clearer. we can't really do impact training in the dojo, so especially with the bokkens and with no armor. So, but in terms of delivering force to a target, when you deliver force to the target, you don't want to deliver it at an angle. So in the case of, say, this one, when you're coming up for the wrist, you want to deliver the force so that it's coming up straight into the joint this way. So that means I need to make adjustments in the body that I can find that angle. And the case if I make the attack at an angle here, this just bounces off the joint here. So if anyway I'm off the joint, this just slices down. This is fine with a katana. You're gonna take the skin or whatever off. But what you want to do in the case of the bokken is like blunt impact straight into the joint, which means you're always going to deliver the force straight into it. So straight in down and not off at an angle. This just bounces out as you do it. Yeah. So when you do these movements, also just have a consideration for how do I achieve the correct angle through it. That's basically what I'm looking for here. So when I deliver the force here, I'm delivering it straight down into the joint. Or you're delivering the joint strike here. This is going straight into the joint. Yeah. This is obviously, you can only really practice with a partner, but just so you have it in their kind of consideration. You don't want to deliver force at an angle in this case. You want to go straight into it this way. Okay, good. Any questions, Paul? No? All clear.
This one.
Yeah, go ahead.
The last one I've never seen. So is there any, in our system, is there any combat position for the last one? You know, in Komitachi's that we have never seen.
No, this comes from the Awase set, or not a set. This is the problem in the system, not a problem, but that we don't really have codified the Awase series or the Awase practice. These kind of very simple 1-2. Now there's a ton of material that's not on film that we're trying to kind of film, but now it's impossible. But so there's a kind of there's hundreds of movements that are like these 1-2 Awase that just aren't on film. They're kind of spread around somewhere. So yeah, there's a ton of them really. So this is one of them. Yeah.
I'm curious to see in a combat, like, you know, when we meet again, then maybe you can show.
Yeah, sure.
When you do that exactly.
This is a great practice also in terms of sparring. This is also a really great practice. We do this sometimes in the dojo. I actually go to the wrist as well. So we do this in a kind of free form where I'm just moving, trying to connect, and then I'm basically going to go snap into the person's wrist. So you can do this with precision and care, but it takes.
Especially the third one that you kind of go like never seen that one. The other two I'm familiar, but the third never seen before.
Also, when I'm kind of Awase, and I'm gonna come in from underneath. You'll see this familiar. This is the same move I make with a thrust in. So as the raise comes, I just thrust straight into the person this way, and this goes straight to the throat. So this goes straight in, and this is kind of a continuation of it that I just go here for the wrist. This is basically where I miss the throat, and I go pull back to strike for the wrist. Yeah, but there's a ton of this material that's not really. Yeah, we don't really have on film, so.
Okay, thanks.
Good.
Like it.
Good. Okie dokie. はい、どうもありがとうございました。
どうもありがとうございました。